What's up, everybody? Once again, my name is Matt, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. In the last episode, we opened up the way to the bottom of the seafloor and made our way here to the Ocean Temple. So in this episode, well, we're gonna do what we do best and tackle this next temple. Now, the Ocean Temple is a very long temple, and there's a lot of backtracking, so I'll do my best to speed things along as much as I can by explaining as we go. But, yeah, this is probably gonna take us a while. Let's start, though, by checking out this stone slab. The first is above here. Alright, so let's pull down our map and write down the number 1. Now, this is referring to a puzzle that takes place on the second floor, but we haven't been there yet, so we can't draw on that section of the map. The third is above here. Alright, so again, let's just pull down our map and mark down the number 3, and we'll move on to the next slab. The second is above here. Alright, sweet. So now we know this is number 2, and by process of elimination, the last slab must be number 4, so no need to check that one out. Now that we have that information, though, let's just immediately run our way up to the second floor, although we're not going to use this right away. Instead, to my left, there is a cracked wall over here, so let's grab our bombs, and, I want to show this off real quick, because it's going to lead us into a room where we really can't do anything right off the bat, but it will be important for later on. So yeah, like I said, immediately we're sort of just like stuck here until we get the item. But if you look on your map, there is another entrance on the right side, and that sort of correlates to this section of wall right here, although it's not cracked. So the game just sort of like implies that, yeah, if you throw a bomb over here, it's going to explode and reveal another passageway, and now we can enter from this side. But sadly, yeah, we're gonna get blocked again because now there are some weird thorny vines in our path. But those rooms will be important later on, so just remember that they are there. We'll have to come back once we get the item from this temple. Anyways, though, now we can actually make use of that information that we got on the first floor. So, if we step on this block, it's going to start moving around 4 switches, and we need to hit the switches that correlate with the numbers that we discovered on the first floor. So, I believe if we hit them like that, yeah, it's going to unlock that door. Now, if you do make a mistake, there are a bunch of arrow traps, and chances are they will hit you and knock you into the abyss. Anyways, I didn't really show this off, but yeah, this boulder is actually falling down to the first floor, and it is blocking our path. So what you want to do is come back over here and use your boomerang to hit this switch, and what this is going to do is change where that boulder falls. So yeah, now it's going to roll down a little bit farther and fall into a different location back on the first floor. Now we need to backtrack all the way down to the first floor, and we can pass by where that boulder was originally falling. So yeah, I didn't really show that off, but it does save time if you just like do this first. If you tried to go to like the right side of the first floor, you would have just gotten blocked by that boulder anyways. Really not much you can do until you come up here and change where that boulder falls. Now that we've done that, though, we can run over to the right side of the first floor and see what we've got going on over here. So yeah, there's the boulder falling down now. Before you change the path, it falls down like right over here. But now we have access to this area, but there's really not a whole lot we can do, so we're just gonna go back up to the second floor. And again, there's really not a whole lot we can do in this area right now. So let me just get rid of these enemies. And yeah, then we're just gonna keep going up to the next floor, since without the item for this temple, yeah, not a whole lot we can do. But what we can do is head into this center room and fight the mini-boss for this temple and actually get the item, then do a whole bunch of more backtracking. Anyways, I believe this guy is called a snapper. He has like this weird whip thing. What you want to do is run away from him. When he pulls you back, just start slashing at him. After you break free, you can use like your boomerang to stun him, and then just attack him however many times you want. He does go down pretty easily. His whip doesn't do too much damage, so overall, he's a pretty easy enemy to take out. But yeah, doing so will cause that chest to appear, and of course, all of these doors are going to unlock now, so it's going to take like 70 years before we can even move our character again. I mean, I get it, game. Doors are unlocking. You really don't need to show me all of this. Finally. Alright, let's open up this chest and get ourselves the whip, which is a really cool item. It's similar to the grappling hook from Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, except you cannot use it to make tight ropes, and I'm totally okay with that because honestly, I didn't really like that mechanic to begin with. But, yeah, we can latch on to, like, these weird wooden poles now and swing across all Indiana Jones style. It's pretty cool. Now, I actually want to wait here for a moment because there is a moving platform that I would like to land on, so alright, gotta make sure you time this right, since you really can't, like, jump off. Like, you have to wait until you're done with your swing, then you sort of jump off automatically. But yeah, here is a random chest, just contains, like, a random treasure. There are a lot of them in this temple, and, most of them we're gonna get by backtracking, which we're actually gonna start doing now, since really, I need to backtrack and get the stamp for this location, and along the way, there's a ton of those chests, so might as well grab them while we're going along. The first of which we can get by grappling across all of these wooden pegs. Oh, by the way, you grapple by, like, holding the R button to activate the item, and then tapping on the touchscreen at the, you know, enemy or thing that you want to grapple onto. So when you're swinging, you just gotta, like, constantly tap, like, the next pole, and you'll automatically grapple to it. It's pretty easy. It looks a little bit weird, but, once you actually get the item and start using it, you should have no problem, like, understanding what it does. Alright, let's grapple across back over here to the first section, and the only reason I wanted to do that was just so, hey, look, a treasure. What is this? It is a star fragment. Cool. But yeah, the only reason why I wanted to do it this way was just so I could reach, this weird little, fish switch, I guess you could say, because if you pull this, it's going to cause that chest to appear. And, that chest is right along the way up to the second floor where we can go and get the stamp. So, just want to activate that before we get up there so we can collect it along the way and, not waste too much time backtracking. That is one thing that I dislike about this temple is all the backtracking. But, if you're not going for all the stamps, you could probably finish this temple up a lot quicker. Alright, so we're going to head in onto the right exploded wall because that's where you want to go first. And we can actually use the whip to get rid of these, I guess, thorns on these vines. And once you get over here, you want to pull out your boomerang, since on the other side of this wall is a switch that we can hit. And that's going to cause another grappling post to appear on the left side. And that sort of, like, completes the trail. So now we can grapple all the way across to the platform on the far side of that room. Thankfully, after we get this stamp, there's only, like, one more major section of backtracking that we need to do, and that section is required to beat the temple, so I guess it's not really backtracking if you think of it like that, but, I mean, you still have to, like, go back through some of the temple in order to, move forward, which I realize that doesn't make sense, but it will make sense once we get to that part of the temple. Anyways, though, here is the stamp station, finally. So yeah, this one really far out of the way. Like, they make you work for that, and holy crap, it's been a long time since we've gotten one of those stamps. But, it's also been a long time since I've actually recorded this game. Like, I pre-recorded a ton of videos before I went on vacation, came back, only recorded, like, 2 or 3 videos, and then, now I'm recording again, so it's been, like, another session since my last recording one, and I guess, yeah, it's been quite a while since we've gotten one of those stamps, but, yeah, it's pretty cool. I like how you can see which date, you know, I recorded these videos on by, way of, like, the date on the stamps. It's pretty neat. Anyways, now that we've gotten the stamp, though, we're pretty much good to go, so let's go all the way back up, to where we were on the 3rd floor. And, now instead of going back down, I think we can actually go directly across to my left and, go up to, like, the next floor of the temple. I think there's 6 floors in total in this temple, so yeah, it's really, really large. And by the end of it, we'll end up at, like, the top, you know, like the part that we saw sticking out of the water when we rode by on our train. Anyways, let's check this out. 3 handles sit before you. Pull only the one farthest from your grasp. Alright, so I believe this is referring to the area on our map with, like, these 3 things sticking out. So that one's the shortest, which means the switch near that one is going to be the one farthest from our grasp. So we're going to stand on that one and hopefully pull a switch with our whip if we get over there. Thing is, we gotta get over there first, so let's get rid of these chews, because honestly, I just do not want to deal with them. I like that we can use the whip to stun them as well as the boomerang now. Let's pull this though, just so we can unlock this door, and now we can actually reach those areas with like the platforms jetting out. So the third one, yeah, it's the shortest one. Let's stand up here and pull this switch. And sure enough, that's the correct one, and it causes that bridge to appear again. If you pull the wrong switch, the arrow traps will fire, pushing you into the abyss, and you'll take some damage, so not really a good time. Alright, so now we're back here on floor 3, except we're on the bottom side of the map, which is good for us because what we can do here is grab this sword and put it in the other fish's mouth, which is going to cause this chest to appear, and also that grapple post. So now we can go back to the middle of the room and then go up, since there is a locked door up there that I don't think I showed off when I went past there the first time. But yeah, pulling the sword from that fish's mouth and then throwing it into the other fish's mouth is a huge mechanic in this temple, and I like how Nintendo very briefly just like shoved that off and introduced it to you before making use of it a ton in this temple. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to do that so much on the 5th and 6th floor. It's really kind of obnoxious, actually, and that's sort of the reason why there's like another section of backtracking. You'll see once we get there. Anyways, on floor 4, let's just pull this switch real quick. This actually creates like a shortcut that I don't really think you ever need to use. I'm not even sure why that's there, to be completely honest with you, but I mean, if there's ever a reason that you need to use that, let me know, because I've never actually used that before any time I've played through this game. Anyways, we got some new enemies. These are chews with these weird helmets on them. So yeah, just use the whip, pull the helmet off them, and then beat them up like normal. Really nothing too hard. And swing your sword, Link. There you go. I don't know what was going on there. Like, I was tapping the chew, but Link was just like running into it instead of actually swing his sword. Oh, well, what do you do? I mean, that's sort of like the downside to having a touchscreen control everything. Real quick, let's grab these thorns, get them out of the way, because right up here is a very important slab. 3 blades sit in a row. Retrieve them all and the path may open. Alright, so what this means is you need to find 3 fishes with all blades in them right next to each other. So obviously, it's not these ones, and it's not the ones over there, and it's not the ones over here either. So I'm just going to save you guys some time. Don't even bother looking over there. Let's get rid of all these snappers, though, because I really do not want them bothering me as I'm trying to run through here. You know, one thing I do like about this game is that none of the enemies respawn after you kill them. So if you take them out, well, okay, that's not entirely true. But like most of the normal enemies don't respawn after you kill them, which is really, really awesome. So makes traveling through the temples a lot easier. Anyways, here are fishes. All of them have swords. They're right next to each other, and there's 3 of them, so let's pull them all out. And sure enough, doing that is going to cause all of these like grapple poles to exist, and now we can go across them and reach that area. But before we do that, there's sort of like another thing over here that you want to do, and it is required, but it's sort of out of the way. Let's pull this, and now we can grapple onto like this weird helicopter thing. Oh, hang on. Yeah, you got to make sure you hold down the touchscreen the entire time you're grappled onto this thing. It's really weird because it's like the only thing that makes you do that. But yeah, just make sure you're pressing down on the touchscreen, and this thing will take us to a higher part of this floor, which will allow us to reach a different part of the floor above us. I know it's really, really complicated right now, but it makes sense, you know, when you're playing the game and when you see it. So let's head up here. And now we're on floor 6. This is like the final floor, but we're sort of stuck in this little tiny section with these weird blue chews. Now, we can't defeat these guys normally, so what you want to do is grab the sword from this fishy mouth and just chuck it at these chews. Now, unfortunately, the hitbox on this is a little bit weird, so even though it may look like you're hitting the chew, yeah, you might not. But there we go. Got rid of both of those. And doing that unlocks a door, but more importantly, it causes that grapple post to appear. And that's a very, very important post. Like, you need that to be there in order to actually complete this temple. So that's why I wanted to do that first. now that that is done though, let's ride this little helicopter thing, there we go, back down to the original section of this floor, and now we can grapple across all those posts that we caused to appear, and go up normally to the 6th floor. But man, you know, I just realized like how involved this temple actually is, because it feels like I've been non-stop explaining things since we got in here, and this is me like doing it as fast as I can too, like while recording. Imagine if like I went slower and tried to explain things before I did them. Like, this temple would take forever, man. Like, we're almost done now, but there's still a pretty big portion of the temple to do. Real quick, yeah, watch out, because you do need to fall for a second before you can hit that last pole. Hit that switch though, and now it sort of like bridges that gap, so you don't need to fall as much, and now it'll also allow us to backtrack and go down to the 5th floor, which we will need to do in a second. Let's read this slab though, because it'll say, remember the placement of the blades. The knowledge will be useful in another similar room. Right, so if you look on your map, you'll notice that this room is very similar to the room below us. So what you want to do is mark down the location of the blades like the slab said. So I'm going to mark them on the floor 5 map, since that's where we need to place them. So I'm just going to draw a line here and then a line here with a little bit of space in between, because that's where the blades are for this section. And I'm going to do that for all 4 sections. That way we know where each of the blades are, and we can go back down to the 5th floor and move them. So let's draw these ones, and I believe this is the exact same pattern. So one over here, a little bit of space, and then one over here. That looks good. And I thought there was a chest over here. Maybe not really sure. Alright, I'll worry about that later. For now, let's just mark down the location of these swords. So one on either side and blank in the middle. That should be good enough. And before we do anything else, remember that grapple post that we got to appear? Yeah, now is the time to use it. So let's head over here and grab this chest, which contains a small key that we need to complete this temple. So, like I said, very important. Also, really easy to miss, which seems to be like a theme with this temple. Anyways, over here, let's see. Alright, everything is empty over here, but, yeah, I think there's something behind these vines. And, oh, it's a switch. Alright, let's pull that in. Oh, there is the chest. Alright, I knew there was a chest there. Like, I thought there was something over there. I just, didn't know exactly what you need to do to make it appear. But there you go. Let's open this up and get ourselves a Rudo crown. Nice. Not sure if that is our first one or not, so I have no idea if that's actually worth anything. Alright, we've done everything we need to do on this floor right now, so we need to head back down to the 5th floor now, and move all of the swords into the locations that they are on this floor, and then all we should have to do after that is get the boss key to the boss door, and we'll be good to go. But yeah, more backtracking and more like random stuff to do. Like I said, this temple is really crazy. I do like this temple, but there's just a lot going on. Alright, let's see. Let's try and get this one. That did not work, because that one in the middle is actually in like the right spot, so I kind of just want to move this one if I can. The problem is, yeah, you can't like drop these swords, because if you do, they disappear. So the only way you can move them is by like throwing them into another mouth and then moving them that way. Alright, these ones are easy, like right next to each other, so let's just move them over by one, and that's done. So let's head down over here, and yeah, make sure you come back over to these ones, because these do respawn, even though we pulled them all out before. So yeah, those are all empty now, and just one last set of swords, actually just one more sword we gotta move, and done. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna unlock that door on the bottom right, and pretty much that's the entire point of that puzzle, because now we can swing over there using the grapple post, and that's going to allow us to reach the boss key. Like, it's kind of funny. You do all that work, and yeah, it just moves down that one little wall, so we can go up these giant staircase, which is a little larger than it needs to be, but yeah, now we can reach the boss key and finish up this temple finally. Alright, there we go. I always forget to press down the touchscreen when I'm riding these things. Like, it's the only thing in the entire game that like makes you hold down the touchscreen to stay on it, especially when using the whip. So I just never think to do it. But there we go, we got the boss key, and that bridge will take us right over to the door. So, should be easy, right? Of course not. This game hates you, man. Now we got some, Keymasters, I believe these guys are called, or at least that's what someone told me. So yeah, we gotta deal with them. Let's just get rid of them real quick. They do respawn after a little while, but killing them should give you more than enough time to grab the key and bring it over to the door without having to worry about them. And of course, once you get to the door, the monsters will disappear, and that's that pretty much. And now all that's left to do is take on the boss, which I really do like the boss of this temple. And oh, I guess there is a 7th floor to this temple as well. Totally forgot, like, this little tiny room counted as its own floor, but whatever. Alright, let's get rid of these thorns and take on the boss. Like I said, I really like this boss. It's pretty easy, but I don't know, it's a pretty neat little concept. So we're actually outside of the temple now, and this is the part that, like, you see above the water. Looks a lot different up close and personal, but yeah, the boss is right at the very top. So we actually have to, like, scale the outside of the temple to get up and fight the boss, which is pretty easy now that we have our whip. So let's get going. But along the way, we are going to have to sort of fight the boss, if you will. Like, he has tentacles around here, and what you want to do is grab one of his thorns and check it out, like the eye in his tentacle. Also, be careful because the boss is sort of like raining down some acid from above, so make sure you don't stand still for too long because that acid will hit you, and it can knock you off the cliff, but I don't think anything bad happens, like, if you fall off. I think you just, like, respawn back to, like, where you fell off from, so not a big deal. Anyways, let's grab onto this, and gosh dang it, again, I told you guys, I always forget to hold on to the touchscreen. Now, sadly, we need to wait for that thing to come back down here so I can grab it again. But, yeah, it's so funny, man. Alright, let's just hold on to this time, and now this will pretty much take us to the actual boss fight. Although, I guess you could consider scaling the arena like phase 1 of the fight, because this boss doesn't really have phases, but this is Phytop's Barbed Menace. And you fight this guy pretty much how you would expect to fight him. Like, there's really no, like, super secret trick to it or anything like that. Like, it's pretty obvious. So what you want to do is grab a thorn from his tentacles and throw it back at his face. That'll get rid of, like, 2 of his little tiny bubble things, revealing his eye. Then just throw a thorn into his eye. He'll come crashing down to one of the sides, and now you can wail on him with your sword. Literally, just rinse and repeat. The boss fight really doesn't change besides that point. Like, he does have 2 other tentacles that, like, slam down and try to attack you, but, yeah, you can easily avoid them or even tank the damage because they really don't even do a whole lot. So, yeah, as much as I like this fight and think that it's cool, it's very easy and not really threatening. Oh man, he went the other way. That is one thing that can be annoying about this fight, is that if you don't go the right way when he sort of like gets stunned, you miss out on dealing a ton of damage, because this is one fight where his stun duration is like all time based and not damage based. So I think you can do as much damage as you can, but you only get like a few seconds to actually do that damage. Whereas opposed to, like, most other fights have been, you can deal a ton of damage, but after you deal a certain amount, it sort of like stops you from dealing more to lengthen the battle and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Anyways, maybe 1 or 2 more cycles of this, and this guy should be done. I somehow managed to actually grab another thorn there. That was pretty cool. Didn't even know you could do that. But come on. There we go. And, oh man, he went the other way again. Alright, dude, come on. I want to get some hits. And, oh wow, there we go already. Holy crap. That was a lot quicker than I expected it to go down. But, yeah, there we go. That was Phytops, man. And ta-da! It's another Force Gem. This one's a nice blue color. I like it. But man, it feels like we completed this temple really quickly, and like, I know that can't be true because, I know how long this temple actually is, especially since, I did practice this temple, so I know that it takes like around 30-ish minutes to complete it, maybe a little less, so I don't know how long this video is actually going to be. It's probably going to be a longer one, which is okay because, like I said, I did want to like make these episodes a little bit longer now that I'm back from vacation, so I guess you could say like this is the start of that. And alright, another power surge down the spirit tracks, all the way back to the Tower of Spirits, of course. And would you look at that? Well, after this last section gets reconnected, there's only the top of the tower left. Pretty cool, right, guys? I mean, we've almost like reassembled the entire thing. It's pretty impressive. Way to go, you did it, Link. The ocean rail map started glowing, and we know what that means. The tracks to the Tower of Spirits have been restored. Come on, let's go back to the Tower of Spirits, Link. Alright, sounds like a plan, but first, let's of course grab ourselves another heart container. And I believe this one is actually, yeah, going to start our second row. So just like with Phantom Hourglass, I believe there's only 16 total heart containers instead of like the usual 20, which is kind of weird. Not really sure why they did that, but whatever. Alright, so now that we're done with this temple, I think that's a good place to end off this video. So if you guys enjoyed this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. But once again, guys, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.